So yes, the Gospel of Mary, it's a very real thing, but does it change everything we know about Jesus like some claim? Was it intentionally removed or left out of the Bible? Should we equate it with the other Gospels? Well, let's go deep on this. The Gospel of Mary was discovered in 1896 by a German collector at a market in Cairo, in a collection of works known as the Berlin Codex. It also included the Apocrypha of John, the Sophia of Jesus Christ, and a summary of the Acts of Peter. The copy of Mary in the Berlin Codex has been dated to the 5th century, but it's believed to have been based on a text that had been around for a lot longer than that. And between 1897 and 1906, 2 other fragments of the Gospel of Mary were found, both written in Greek and dated to the 3rd century. So early estimates of the Gospel of Mary, it's dated between 2nd and 3rd century, meaning that Mary did not write it. And there are some very strange things about this Gospel of Mary, namely a few hundred years later in the 5th section of the Gelasian Decree, which is a list of writings that sects of the early church revered but were declared invalid over the 3rd, 4th, and 5th century. The Gospel of Mary wasn't even mentioned once in that list. So one of Mary's mysteries is, while some sects obviously thought it was important and it's mentioned offhand by early church fathers, it just seems like the Gospel of Mary vanished from history until 1896. But was it suppressed because it held secret teachings of Jesus or about the role of women in the church? I mean, you can come up with a theory like that, but the truth is it just doesn't seem that the Gospel of Mary was as widespread as other works, and it seems that the sects that really liked the Gospel of Mary were of a gnostic bent, flying in the face of traditional church thought. So what was becoming the established church wasn't interested in discussing it or preserving it. And another issue is that we don't know exactly which Mary it is that the Gospel of Mary is referencing. So I don't care what you've heard in a conspiracy video, nowhere in the Gospel of Mary does it say Mary is Jesus's wife or anything like that. Some believe the subject is Jesus's mother Mary, some Jesus's sister Mary. And it's a whole other can of worms because that references the Gnostic Gospel of Philip. But most people believe that due to context, the Mary in question is indeed Mary Magdalene, because other contemporary works lumped into the Gnostic category, like Thomas and the Pistis Sophia, the character of Peter plays the same exact role as an adversary to Mary. And this is important because part of Gnostic thought was that the establishment of tradition and institution reflects the material world, and the material world was evil. And these institutions were personified by Peter and the disciples, because most of the early church fathers' authority was believed to come from the first apostles, many of which considered Peter the head. So works with Gnostic leanings sometimes flew in the face of that authority, regarding as what was becoming tradition and institution as erroneous and spiritually misleading. And various Gnostic works grant Mary a super high status among the apostles. And this is present in the Gospel of Mary, with Levi saying that Jesus loved her more than he loved all the other apostles. So what was becoming the mainstream orthodox theology had zero interest of preserving the Gospel of Mary, as it didn't match up with what they were establishing. And the Gospel of Mary isn't really a gospel per se. It doesn't follow a gospel narrative structure, nor is it a sayings gospel like Thomas, even though it has some similar concepts. Basically, the Gospel of Mary is like a drama presented in dialogue. You got missing pages, a scene about Jesus's final instructions to his disciples. Then there's another scene about Mary's words of encouragement to disciples. There's a few more missing pages. And then Peter asks Mary to share some of the secret teachings of Jesus. And then she gives her vision of the soul's progress, the rise of the soul as it passes on its way to its final rest, the 4 powers that try to prevent it, etc., etc. And then after hearing this soul's progress stuff from Mary, Andrew and Peter take on the role of adversary, with Peter saying, "Did he then speak secretly with a woman in preference to us and not openly? Are we to turn back and all listen to her? Did he prefer her to us?" And then they say these teachings are other ideas. So here you can see in Mary, there's an introduction of things that aren't even close to present in what become the canonized Gospels. And whenever you hear mention of secret teachings of Jesus, that's like a Gnostic bat signal up in the night sky. The Gnostics loved secret teachings and initiation rites and the soul's progress and that sort of thing. So although Mary may not have originally been written as a Gnostic work, it seems as if it was quickly adopted as one, although it doesn't mention things other Gnostic works are famous for, the demiurge, dualism, all that kind of stuff. But it does hold dear to the Gnostic ideas that Jesus' true role was to reveal humanity's true bond with God, the truth of who humanity was. And our hope was in this concept of becoming fully human. So you can see why it would not be accepted by Orthodox believers or church fathers. The Gospel of Mary is a different interpretation of Jesus' teachings, that his way was a path to gnosis, deep spiritual knowledge. And it doesn't align with Jesus' death and resurrection as the path to eternal life, but instead that it's through becoming fully human that we ascend into the heavens. And it's pretty obvious from the way the text is written that it was designed to challenge the orthodox structure of the emerging 1st, 2nd century church. So was it ever considered by the establishment for inclusion into the Bible? No way. But there's no conspiracy. It just wasn't in wide use in established churches, and it was so far removed from the canonical discussion, it didn't even get a mention in the Gelasian Decree. But Mary is a valuable work because it shows us the diversity of thought within early Christianity. So that's just a little bit about the Gospel of Mary. And if you're interested in learning more about Gnostic works, especially from a believer's perspective, I offer a Donate What You Want workshop via download, with all proceeds going to our overseas charity work, details of which can be found in my pinned videos and my link. And with the Gnostic workshop, it also includes the works we discussed: the Gospel of Mary, the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Philip, and the Gospel of Judas. So if you're interested in learning more about these works and their history, check it out. So God bless. See you soon.